Shalom, thanks for watching Doing Life with Jenny. If you are new here, this is my beagle Ruthie, and I just quit my job as a Spanish teacher so that we could move to Mexico to the state of Hidalgo. If you missed my second to last video, let me quickly recap. I was supposed to be in Mexico right now to renew my temporary residency, but my passport didn't make it back on time from being renewed. Since then, I have been frantically calling the passport office multiple times per day, trying to get an appointment in person to go get my passport. I was only supposed to fly down to Mexico to renew my residency for about a week, and then come back, pick up, where'd she go? Pick up Ruthie and drive down in our van to move there. Today, I'm telling you the rest of the passport drama. So yes, I paid extra to expedite my passport. When it's getting to be within 2 weeks of your travel date and you still haven't received it, you can call to try and get an in-person appointment or to put a note on your file like, hey, they're leaving within 2 weeks, let's make this happen. If you are able to score an in-person appointment, good luck on making that happen. You have to show proof of travel within 5 days of your appointment. So I'm going to share my experience and what I could have maybe done differently to make it happen sooner. So the night before I was supposed to fly to Mexico, I saw that that was obviously not happening because I didn't have a passport. So I was lucky enough to get a flight credit when I canceled my flight so I could rebook it for another day, and I booked it for 4 days later. Because like I just told you, you have to have proof of travel within 5 days of making an in-person appointment. So again, I was frantically calling and calling and calling over and over again, each time being on hold anywhere from 1 to 5 hours. After my original travel date had passed, I was literally having a nervous breakdown. Here I am on the phone again. This time was the 5-hour wait. As you know, anytime you're on hold, it kind of ruins that hour or 2 hours or 5 hours in this case. There's not much else you can do. But at least they do tell you when to roughly expect someone to answer your call. But anyway, after 5 hours, we'll call her Alejandra, finally answers the phone. And I could tell Alejandra had a bit of an attitude, and so it made me have a bit of an attitude too because of the whole situation and then her giving me crap about it. But anyway, they go through the series of questions. What's your confirmation number? What's your name? Birthday? Blah, 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 blah. They have this whole spiel. And one of the questions is, when is your date of travel? Well, it was 3 days ago. Okay, but this is for emergency passports only. Don't you think that if my travel date was 3, 4, 5 days ago, it makes me more of an emergency that someone is traveling 3 days from now because I should have already been at my destination? And I didn't say it quite that harshly to her, but I was starting to get an attitude with her because she was not stating this information very politely to me. Like I said, I should have already been in Mexico. And I already waited on the phone for 5 hours for her to answer. So missing your trip, whether it be vacation, job-related, wedding, doesn't matter if you missed it. It only matters if you have upcoming travel. So I told her, well, I rescheduled it for 2 days from now, so hopefully I can find an appointment available to pick up my passport. Then she got an attitude that day was a Sunday and the following day was Memorial Day, so the passport offices weren't open anyway. So did I have travel or not? Yes, I had travel. What did I say, 3 days ago or 4 days ago at this point? And I rescheduled it for 2 days from now. Oh, well, that doesn't count because we're closed and that date has already passed. Do you have a different upcoming travel date? No, I don't, Alejandra, because I can't keep paying to change my flight. There is a fee to change it. If you're lucky enough to even score a flight that allows you to make changes. And I can't just keep changing my flight because you might have an appointment, so I might get my passport to make that flight. So looking back now, I could have done one thing differently to save me money. Hopefully it will save you money, but make up a travel date. Let's say today is June 1st and you need to travel on June 5th. Don't buy your ticket yet. Get yourself the appointment. Tell them it's on June 5th. And once they tell you, oh yeah, there's an appointment in Philadelphia on June 3rd, then you know you have today to buy your flight for June 5th, so you have proof of that whenever you go to your appointment. That is the only thing I could have done differently. Otherwise, I did exactly what I was supposed to do. It was just them being too slow or not having enough staff on hand or whatever the case might be. So basically, the rescheduled flight that I had was like the absolute last day I could fly to Mexico and get a chance to go to immigration to renew my residency. After that, there's no point of flying there because it was going to expire, so what's the point? If you missed 2 videos ago, there is some grace period, so I'm still good to let it expire for 55 days as long as it expires while I am outside of Mexico. So thank goodness I am still good there. So I'm no longer flying, but I'm just driving. Obviously, I still need a passport to cross the border via vehicle. So like I've done so many times, I hopped back on the phone. This time it was only like a 45-minute to an hour wait. I'll take it. And when we got to that, your expected wait time is 2 to 3 minutes, I start taking a deep breath. My heart starts racing. And the guy on the phone, he just sounded very, very friendly, like he actually wanted to help me. I had a good feeling about it, but I kind of told myself I had a good feeling every time I called there, so I wasn't getting my hopes up. So as soon as I heard someone answer the phone, my heart sank. Like I was getting ready to have a panic attack. Whenever I have a panic attack, like my heart sinks into my stomach, it's beating so quickly that I can't breathe. I pass out, like I was sitting down, so I didn't get the passing out feeling that I usually have. But yeah, I go through the series of questions: name, birthday, where are you traveling to, when's the travel date. So this time, he said there was an appointment in Honolulu. This is the second time they've told me there's an appointment in Honolulu. If you know anything about US geography, you know why that would be the least desirable appointment. Because if you're supposed to fly within 5 days of your appointment, that does not give you much time to book the flight and accommodation and get there the day before, have your appointment, leave the next day, and get back to catch your plane or start driving to the border, right? And I was getting ready to tell him I'll take it, except for it was the day before I needed to start driving to Mexico, so it wasn't going to give me enough time. But I was getting ready to just say I'll take it anyway and have to like drive more distance in one day than I originally wanted to do. By the way, to make this make more sense, I have a friend meeting me at the border who booked a flight to the border, so I cannot be flexible with the driving day. But as this is all racing through my mind, he's like, oh, we have an appointment in Seattle. And before he could get the sentence out of his mouth, I said, sign me up. I was luckily able to use my flight credit from having to cancel the rebooked flight to get to Seattle, and I even had a little bit of money left over from my credit. The bad thing was that even a hostel there is over $60 a night. It ended up being over $200 for 2 nights because of the cleaning fees at a hostel. Come on, I'm used to paying $10 a night for something really nice in Mexico. So I got the trip all squared away and I started putting together my evidence of traveling internationally within the date I gave them. That's a tricky part since I'm driving. So I had a sheet for my Mexican car insurance. I went ahead and booked some Airbnbs in Mexico, even though the plan was to stay with my friend's friend, because why pay for a place if we can crash with them for free or like pay them a little something for the utilities? And I'm moving to Mexico. I don't need to have a hotel there, you know? That was going to be a bit tricky, but I did make out an itinerary for them. I did include the Airbnbs for the US side of the trip because from where I live until the border is about 15 hours, and with this little guy, it would be too much to do in one day. So I wanted to break it up a little bit for her. And on my itinerary, I included details like, hey, I was supposed to be there last week to renew my visa, but that didn't happen. So now this is the new plan. And I have a YouTube channel where I've been explaining moving and showing the process. Like, you can check that out. But anyway, it was all finally coming together. So yesterday morning or early afternoon, I did log into the passport website just because there was still a chance that they were going to mail it, like they should have done, last week. And what do you know? It says shipped. And it should be here tomorrow. So I no longer need the accommodation in Seattle. I no longer need the flight to Seattle, but I am going to wait until I have that passport in my hand before I cancel my flight and Airbnb. Luckily, my hostel will still be refundable at that point, and I'm really hoping that my flight credit can get a flight credit, if that makes sense. Honestly, it kind of stinks that I have a flight credit because I have to use it by next January, and it's with American Airlines. I really have no plan on coming back to the US unless there's an emergency. Anywhere I would want to travel to would be a different country, and American only goes from the US to other countries, not Mexico to other countries. But meanwhile, I keep telling Subway, hey, I didn't move to Mexico this week after all. I can work if you need me. Wait, just kidding, I have to go to Seattle. And telling my dog sitter, hey, I need you. Wait, just kidding, I don't. Wait, yes, I do. So I feel bad for being wishy-washy, but it is not my fault. I am not a wishy-washy person. If you missed a few videos ago, we are living with my parents, but they do go camping regularly, and it's a lot for them to haul their dog and my dog to go camping, especially since this one is terrified of everyone except for her mother. But yeah, I physically got sick the day I was on hold for 5 days and dealing with Alejandra. I didn't get to go to church that day. I was literally grabbing my purse to walk out the door, and I got sick. I felt like I was going to get sick again, so I just stayed home. I did get sick again a few hours later. And what do you know? Once everything got resolved, I started feeling better. I've still felt some anxiety in my chest in the morning when I wake up because of the move, because it is a big life change, but not because of dealing with the passport. It would be my luck that the mail truck with my passport would blow up or fall into a lake or something. That's why I'm not canceling my appointment in Seattle until it's physically in my hands. But either way, at least I'm going to meet my friend at the border on time. So our goal over the next few days, which I accomplished some of it today, is I went to the grocery store to get a few snacks for the road and to get a few grocery items that they do have in Mexico but are a little bit more difficult to find for me as someone that cannot have wheat, and I am also vegan. So I got some gluten-free spaghetti noodles. That way I have something easy to make when I get there. I don't feel like I have to rush off to the store and leave her alone at somewhere that's 100% brand new for her. I got an oil change. I called Ruthie's vet today so they can put together a letter saying she's up to date on all of her shots. Supposedly, you need a letter that is dated within 7 days of crossing the border. From what I've gathered, nobody actually asks for it, but it's better to have it just in case. The other thing we need to do in the next few days is pick up my ladder, which is going to go on the top of the van. My ex-husband is storing that at his house. And we just need to repack everything again. Like I mentioned a few videos ago, everything was nice and organized for this is the flying bag, and this is the car bag, and this is we're staying at mom and dad's bag. And at this point, it's just an explosion in our bedroom. And lastly, we need to go see my niece and nephews. My niece is getting ready to have her birthday, so I need to give her her birthday gift. And I just want to see the kids for a bit before I leave, and I got them a little gift. And if you're curious, the gift is some toys for the swimming pool. Yeah, so unless something crazy pops up, the next video you'll see is us driving down to Mexico. So if you would like to follow us in our journey and moving from the US to Mexico, be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Adios.